Hey everyone, before we get into this video, I just wanted to make a quick apology for the quality in my audio for not only this video, but the entirety of the Toronto portion of our Canada Challenge in NHL 22. As I'm sure you can even hear right now, my mic picks up a lot of background noise from my fan, and right now I'm probably sitting about 10 inches away from it, but during the recording session for these videos, I was sitting probably a good foot or so away, just because of the temporary setup that I had for recording at the time. But it will be fixed. Unfortunately, it just won't be for the next couple of episodes. I did try to reduce it down in Audacity a little bit and try and eliminate some of the background noise, but it still didn't turn out super great, and so we're just going to roll with the way that it sounds now. Again, I do apologize and hope this does not discourage you from viewing the video. Hopefully you guys can power through while we finish the first leg of this challenge. I'll spoil it a little bit. It ends up being quick. Maybe not quick as expected, but it shouldn't be too much to deal with. So thank you guys for watching and hope you enjoy. What's up everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Rebuilding Canada project here in NHL 22. So today we're going to go ahead and get started with the very first team in our challenge, which is the Toronto Maple Leafs. I wanted to go through before and show you guys one quick thing that I did. In addition to all of the ground rules that were set out in the introduction, I am going to add one more, which is that I'm using the same roster for every single rebuild. And as you can see, I do have one custom roster, October 15th, 2021. It's just a modification of the one that came out on October 8th. Obviously, this was recorded long before this project was announced. But the only difference between this, and let me just show you guys real quick. The only difference between this and the default roster that's out as of the opening day for the NHL is Tuukka Rask is gone. He is, as of today, a member of the Great Britain national team. And the reason I wanted to do that is because I didn't just want a team to sign him and become really good, especially a bad team with a lot of cap space, and become like a title contending team right away, because I want this to be semi-realistic. Now, one thing about hockey that I will advise versus kind of other sports that's going to make this a little bit more interesting than normal is that randomly teams can just be really good, and randomly really good teams can just be really bad. So there's going to be a few different ways that this is going to, not just going to be like we have the same exact universe happen when we just got to work around it. It's going to be all different scenarios popping up and all different team types too. So the interesting thing about the way that these teams were arranged when I chose the order that I did, which was based on 5 appearances, is that it actually puts them in somewhat of a contending, then you move toward the rebuilding teams, and then back into the more contending teams at the end. So we should have an easier start, kind of a tough road in the middle, and then maybe an easy finish. It kind of depends, I guess, on your feelings on the Montreal Canadiens roster. But anyway, we're going to get in, and I just noticed actually it's not called Be a GM anymore. It's actually called Franchise. And while we're loading in, I do want to make an apology, just in case. I don't know if this is going to be true or not, but about a couple things with the audio. So if the mixing is off, that is my bad. I have not done a live recording in my capture program in like 4 or 5 years, probably since the last NHL 16, maybe even 16, might have been 16. The last NHL commentary I did, unless I did a live area after that, for whatever reason. And then also if the quality itself is off, because currently I'm in a temporary setup and I'm like probably about 2 foot away from a box fan, so I don't know if that's gonna have any sort of negative effects on this. So yeah, we're gonna go with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I also tried to record this like 10 minutes ago and realized after I got through almost the entire setup process that my mic was set up onto the laptop mic that the laptop I'm recording on, the built-in mic, so that's not great. We're going to turn order mode off. We're going to turn CPU traits can stay on. We're going to turn morale off because it doesn't work the way it's supposed to. And then edit lines. Coach is going to be off. We're going to go through some ground rules also here while we're doing this last setup, just in case. So 4-4 full sim. Injuries are on. Period length is going to be max 20 minutes. Fantasy draft off. Cap penalties on. Auto sign free agents. Blah blah blah. Like I said, with franchise mode length, the actual limit or the actual goal is going to be 10 years. That way I can finish this in the time frame before the next game comes out. Ultimate goal is going to be before the Stanley Cup Finals, but that's just a soft deadline. That's what I want to achieve. I'm not going to consider it a failure if we don't have it done by then, but I definitely want to have it done by next season's or by the next time the game comes out. So I'm going to leave this at 25 because I want to leave the door open to come back to any teams that we might build into like dynasties or have like hopes to revisit down the line. CBU trades on. Oh, and again, we are going to be playing playoff games or certain playoff games like last 5 minutes of the third period and overtimes. So I'm going to leave the difficulty on All-Star. Draft pick ownership, authentic. Salary cap on. Trade difficulty, I'm going to leave it medium because I know they changed a lot of things this year and I'm going to have to get used to it. I might go hard as we progress through. But these early ones, these first couple anyway, are going to be with already pretty good teams. I don't know how much trading we're going to have to do in terms of like trading away our players or anything like that. Relocation, fog of war, blah, 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 blah. Auto scouting, I am actually going to leave on because I don't really have a whole lot of experience with it. And staff management, I'm going to leave off for now because I want to use this first franchise and maybe even the second one to try and experiment with it. So, all right, advanced settings, we do have a couple more we got to do. So, yep. Auto rotate goalies on. Sim engine scoring, we're going to go high, and then sim engine shot frequency is also going to be high. Did I see off? Okay, I just want to make sure. Make sure that wasn't wrong. Draft class quality, we're going to go with medium. Generated prospect quality, we'll go with medium. The reason that I put the scoring and shot frequency on high is because I've actually done test runs in 21 with the settings at medium and the settings at high, and high is a little bit more realistic in my opinion. So, authentic, continuous overtime, 1 point, authentic, yes, yep. All right. Yeah, I think we're good. Let me just double check. No, I don't need to mess with the sliders. All right, cool. We are good to jump in. So let us start our career. Breaking the longest title drought in the entire league. Although I guess there's some teams that haven't actually made the playoffs, or made the finals, so I guess I can't really say that. So in theory, in a challenge with these kind of rules, with this kind of setup, the first team will be the hardest. However, I think that this is probably the best talented, most high-end talent on a single roster. Obviously, Edmonton, you have... I don't need this crap. Please let me skip this. Well, obviously with Edmonton, you get Draisaitl and McDavid. This is a roster that screams contender, I think, just about more than any other team in the league. Whenever you look at this forward core and you see the talent on the top two or the top four players, along with the way that they play with each other, this is a team that is looking to win right now, and also with the age of Tavares. Now, when you look down deeper at the forward core, there are a lot of issues that do need to be addressed, and that is why I am here. Defensive core, really solid, honestly. Definitely leaning toward the left side a lot, but we can make this work. I do wish we had a better top right defenseman, and maybe that's what we look to address first. And then in net, honestly, I'm pretty content with this group, and we'll take a look at Hutchinson real quick. I just want to see his potential. Oh, he's already 31. Okay, we can keep him as a third goalie then. Now, with the Toronto was very bad for a very long time. So, we're actually going to go into contracts, not free agent. I hate my Xbox. Okay. I did not know Brady Tkachuk was still in here. I would have edited his contract before I started this. I am going to fix that for the next GM. If I can figure out how. That's another thing. We're going to go into view contracts instead of roster moves. Just look at an overall view of... Come on, stop. So, this year is technically the last year with Morgan Rielly. However, everyone else is locked up for... Matthews has three seasons. Marner's got 4. Tavares also with 4, so those 2 are lined up. And Nylander has 3. So we have this core in place for the next 3 years. I think that should be our target. Now, I do want to extend Morgan Rielly. And next year, cap... Does it not tell me my cap next year? Come on, EA. Come on, EA. You had this right literally last season. He's going to want about $8 million. And I'm actually going to try and get him to sign this now. I want to knock it down just a little bit. Let's see if we can do 7.75. Just trying to save as much money as we can. What is his price if we look? Okay, this is okay, it's not glitch. Okay. So he only wants more money on an 8-year deal. So I'm comfortable giving him... I'm giving him the contract that he wants, to be honest. Because I think that'll make him more likely to accept the slight discount that we're trying to ask of him. Alright. So that's good. So we should have our team pretty much locked in. I don't like a couple of contracts that I see already. One of which is Brody, who is already capped out on his potential. He's 31, and he is signed for 3 more seasons. If he was a couple overall higher, I wouldn't be mad at that. So maybe we can have a good season this year and kind of work his overall back up into that like 84, 85 range. He's probably going to be a top pairing defenseman this year, though, so that might help. Dermott looks like he has decent potential. He's a 2-way defenseman, really strong shot, decent passing, and solid defensively. Not anything spectacular, but for a third pairing left defenseman, he's fine. Hull, Richie, like I said, a lot of these guys are not super amazing. Andre Kosh, very injury prone, but very good when he does play. Wayne Simmons is signed for 2 seasons somehow, and I'm very concerned about that. I would probably try and move off that contract if possible. And then Rasmus Sandin, do we want to play him this year? I think the big question is, did he play last year? Kind of is the answer to that question. Because if we do play him, he might be out of position. I think we should probably play him this year. But other than Brody, these contracts aren't terrible for the caliber of player that we're looking at anyway. And then just to take a look at our goalies, Mrazek making $3.5 million. That's not bad. Campbell making 1.5. I'm comfortable with that, honestly. Now, let's take a look in the system. We don't really have... Scott might be a decent long-term option. He could probably progress in these next couple years. While I'm not expecting to really happen. We're just going to go... Let's go forwards first. So, we have Nick Robertson, who is low elite, minor league scoring forward already, so he should start in the minors this year, probably get first line time. We have 1 top 6 forward, Semyon Ogerchnev, a 3rd round pick in 2018. And then we have a low top 6 forward, Mikhail Abramov. So, obviously trade assets. We have some older guys with top 9 potential who probably aren't going to turn into a whole lot. And that's it, really, for our minor leagues. And then defensemen, we have Timothy Liljegren, who has been demoted in this year's game to a top 4 potential defenseman, which is probably more realistic. 2017 first round pick 22 still doesn't crack the NHL, and still probably will not this year. Probably one of our leading trade targets. We got Kokkonen, I think is how you pronounce that. 2019 third round pick, 2-way defender. Not a great shot, honestly. Okay passing. Not somebody that I really can tell if they're going to be yet. Not. good yet or not. Mac Hollowell has top 6 defenseman potential, but he's already 22 years old with a 70 overall, so he could potentially be something. And we have a low top 4 unsigned Tapi Niemiela, a two-way defender who's pretty solid, not terrible. And then some top 6 guys. So this team does not have very many prospects, which is going to make trading kind of difficult. But we do have a little bit bigger of a window, given that our guys are locked down for longer term. That doesn't mean we're not win now, but it doesn't mean we have to sell out to win in year 1. And that is kind of, in my eyes, a good thing. The unfortunate thing is, with these guys being signed long term, and if Morgan Riley accepts our extension, is that we are kind of locked into this team. So we're going to have to get creative with the ways that we go about improving our roster. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and I want to make sure, first of all, that we're actually compliant. So what I'm going to do first is forwards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. Yeah, and Kampf is actually listed. He's 20. Okay, he's not going to progress anymore. He's actually listed as depth forward, so that's even better. Okay, so we got that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, same thing. It's actually listed that way. Who do we want to play out of position? Do we want to just put Muzzin on that top line, make a really good top pairing? He's a defensive defenseman, and Riley's a two-way defender. Brody's also a two-way defender. We got a lot of two-way defenders on this team. We don't really have any offensive defensemen, so I guess we'll see how it looks when we go there. That'll probably be our plan, and then we'll try and figure out a way to attack. I didn't check Hull. Hull's already 20. Okay. We'll try and figure out a way to attack improving that pairing later down the line, even if it involves packaging a draft pick with Brody to get off of his contract. But that's good. And then I actually like carrying 3 goalies because then I don't have to pull one out of the minors. And I also want to make sure these 2 guys are starting. And Calgren is already 24 and only 64 overall, so that's really good. So yeah, we're actually good with this roster as it currently stands. Now, I don't want that on. What we're going to do, we're going to try and run this as similar to real life as we can. I'm not 100% familiar with their lineups though, so this is going to be kind of weird to set up. Kerfoot and Spezza on the same line is actually something I'm kind of down with. Kerfoot is a two-way forward, playmaker, power forward. Kosh is a sniper. Actually, maybe it'd be better to put Kerfoot on that second line. Simmons on that second line, playmaker, sniper, two-way forward. It's still a +2. And I'd rather honestly have the sniper with the playmaker on the third line, and then Kerfoot. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that name. Kampf and Bunting are all two-way forwards. I wish there was a little bit of line chemistry for that. It's like impossible to see line chemistry now too with this white screen. All right, Riley, Brody. All right, yeah, we got to fix it. What the hell? Oh, because I know why it's doing that. Okay. So there says Riley and Brody gives +3. Now what does Riley and Muzzin do? +1. All right, let's leave that way. And that actually will be good, I think. Dermott and I need Sandy. Yeah, the only thing with that is we still have somebody out of place. Okay, so if we put Dermott up here, we put Sandy on the left side. Yeah, Dermott is actually meant to play top 4 minutes anyway, and then that'll be good. So we don't get any chemistries for that, but we still get a +3 to that top line, which will put Brody at an 85, which is just as good as Muzzin by default, and also Morgan Riley's pushed up to a 90. So I can definitely live with that. Power play, we got Marner, Matthews, Nylander, Riley, Tavares, fine with that. Second line, do we want to get any of our defensemen time on here? Like, Dermott is a two-way defender with 86 passing. Pretty solid shot. 84 offensive awareness. Good skater, too. And then Sandin, 85 passing, 83 offensive awareness. Better shot. I actually would probably prefer to put him on there with Brody. He's actually better offensively than Brody is right now. That's kind of sad. And then Hall's defensive defenseman, so I don't know why I even looked at that. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and give the young guy some ice time instead of putting Andre Kosh on here. Sandin, just changing current line, Spezza, Kerfoot, and Kosh. Okay. 4-man power play. Matthews, Marner. We'll put Tavares, Nylander, and then Brody up here. No, actually leave Brody down there. And no, Brody actually. Wait. Okay. Never mind. I just saw that gives them +5 overall. I must have missed that before. I do need to fix this. Okay, so let's put Spezza. Why does that make it go down? Alright, what if we put an actual defenseman in, though? That's still a -1. What the hell? Okay. Is it because I don't have a sniper? No, because when I had caution here, it was even lower. Huh. I do not understand this. I'm going to put Sandin in then, because that was a -1. Alright. Wasn't really expecting to run into this problem right away. Is this going to be a... No, I don't want them to be even, though. What if we do this? No, that doesn't even raise it. What about like this? No. Or this. Still -1. Alright. We're going to leave it like that, then. And hope for the best. I don't even know what to do, honestly, for our penalty kill. I don't know if I should have Morgan Riley on the penalty kill. It's giving us a +2 right now. Hall's a defensive defenseman, though. We can put him up there and get a +3. And then, what if we put in Sandin on the penalty kill? Yeah, I like that. Okay. That's good. I feel like we can get better. It's like we get better players on here, though. Like, can we? Is there a way to get like? Yeah, let's do this. Camp is actually really good. What if I get Sims in here? What does that do to our chemistry? Okay, it's the same. Cool. Do we get somebody who? Do we have somebody on the roster who is a better line fit? So we already have Camp and Kerfoot. Bunting. What about Mikheyev? Alright. We just figured that out. So that's +3. That's good. 3-man penalty kill. How's it set up here? Kerfoot, Camp, Hall, Muslin, Dermott, Sandin. Alright, that actually helps too, because it's Morgan Riley off the penalty kill, which I'm personally fine with. What if instead of Camp we put in... put Kerfoot. Yeah, I want those guys. Well, actually, how's their face-offs? 75 and 81. Okay. Yeah, fine. We're not going to be in very many situations with 3-man penalty kill anyway. I don't think so. This stuff doesn't really matter to me. Goalies. All right, cool. Let's get into simming, because I've wasted enough time just setting up this team for the first season. So we're going to go ahead and sim up to... Let's see. When's a good time? Let's sim to Christmas. see where we're at then, see if we want to make any early moves, and where our team's at by then, and I will come back. All right, we are here at the midpoint of the season. It is a little bit past Christmas. That's just because I wanted to get a couple guys back in the lineup and actually get to the halfway point because we were at like 35 games or something like that. And then we lost like 5 in a row ever since the start of January after beating the Senators. All these good, talented teams we've lost to like immediately in a row. So that's concerning. Also, Arizona has a very similar record to us. But anyway, you can see we're on top in the division. We were running away with it there for a little bit, but there's a really, really tight pack of teams. The difference between us and last place is only 10 points, and every team has a winning record in regulation, which is almost incredible. So looking at some other divisions, you got the Metropolitan looking pretty much almost in reverse order of what you might expect the standings to be, although I would say the Hurricanes and Caps might be toward the top. But Penguins and Islanders on the bottom is very surprising, considering that the Penguins are fully healthy in this game. Islanders don't particularly ever sim very well, but still, it's kind of surprising that they're in last place. And then in the Pacific, you got the Oilers lingering around 5th with a 500 in regulation record. The surprising Flames on top, Golden Knights, Kraken, and then the Ducks. So, very interesting things going on over in the Pacific Division. And then in the Central, you got the Avalanche on top, but the Predators surprisingly kind of holding their own. They have 43 games played, though. And then the Jets shortly behind. The Central is actually surprisingly probably the worst division in the entire NHL right now, although the Met, I don't know. But yeah, surprisingly, Metropolitan, kind of weak this year. Every team in the Atlantic is better than the 5th best team in the Met. So, did not say I would have expected that. Like I said, some kind of interesting things happen here. So I'm going to just take a kind of glance at a few things. One, I want to take a look at team stands and points. We had a couple of players go down. We actually just had Peter Mrazek go down for a few weeks. But we've been missing Nylander for a lot of the season, and he hasn't been playing particularly well either. We're actually going to start with forwards. So it started off the season, Tavares was like leading our team in points by a significant margin. He was at like 1.5 points a game at one point early in the season. But then Nylander got hurt, and Wayne Simmons also missed like a couple games. Actually, it looks like he played 41, so he really only missed one. But kind of slowed down. Marner with 44, Austin Matthews with 39, but kind of slower in the goals department. Kind of surprisingly. I figured he would be like 26 or 27 goals and like 15, 17 assists with that kind of point total. But interesting stuff early on. Kerfoot's been kind of a surprise. The third line's been very productive. Kosh has 20 points. He's still a half a point per game player on that third line. And then Nylander kind of struggling a little bit, been injured. Simmons has been pretty solid with half a point a game as well. Nick Ritchie on that top line is really holding us back, though, with his 6% shooting percentage and minus 10. So definitely looking to see what we can acquire for that top line. And Nick Ritchie might be just a part of that deal. And then the fourth line has been solid. There's been guys cycling in and out throughout the season. Well, actually, Mikheyev, I guess, is the only one that really missed time. I thought he missed more time than that. And then Pierre Engvall chipping in 6 points as our depth guy. So definitely looking to make a move to replace Ritchie at the trade deadline. And then on defense, we have Morgan Riley with almost a point per game. Rasmus Sandin has been producing even as our third pairing defenseman. I got to give him credit. And then you got Muzzin with 16 points as well. Brody's been kind of miserable, but he's kind of struggled. He's getting a little bit unlucky, it looks like, with that 1% shooting percentage. Hall chipping in. And Dermott, everybody having a pretty solid season here. Well, Dermott I thought would be a little bit better, but I don't know if he's going to progress still at this point. So yeah, been pretty good season on the offensive side for everybody. And defensively, like I said, Nick Ritchie is really kind of holding us back. I hate my Xbox right now. Also, worth noting, I am playing on Xbox One and not Series X or S, so some of these screens are going to take a lot longer. And also, the version of the game is a little bit worse. But Mrazek has been solid this year. 22, 12, and 2. Not too bad. Campbell, can't really say the same, but he hasn't played very much, so 1 or 2 bad games can kind of skew that. And then Hutchinson, been solid since he looks like he only started 1 game, but not too bad. So goalie, I think we're fine. If we get Mrazek healthy, we should be in decent shape. I do want to try again to I'm going to look at the trade block, because before we get into the trade deadline, I want to see if there's any players that we're like particularly interested in. Browse trading block. I just want to see what some other teams kind of have on their board, and I can already see Cam Fowler, who's probably going to be a little bit too expensive to acquire. So was Josh Manson, I'm assuming. Well, Josh Manson's trade value, actually, these guys might be reasonable. So Anaheim, also Shattenkirk, but Shattenkirk's got a much higher trade value. So if we get Cam Fowler, the only thing I don't like is he's on a 5-year deal. So we'll keep looking. Nothing really. I just want to see if I don't see like 80s. So that's a goalie. If I don't see like 80s right away, I'm just going to kind of keep going. I'm going to try and pick out Ryan Suter's already on the trade block. That's interesting. That would be a good trade. I'm going to write that one down, actually, as something to revisit. I don't know if he's going to be on the trading block. I don't know if Ryan Suter is going to be on the trading block come trade deadline time, but that's a really good contract, and I don't know if we can quite make up that value, but we can at least certainly try. I'd also potentially look at Braden Holtby, depending on how Jack Campbell plays here going into the trade deadline. We got nothing there, really. Hornqvist makes just a little bit too much money. I did not realize the Panthers signed Joe Thornton. Kings. I already got the no on the trade block. Dustin Brown, if we can get them to retain a little bit of his money, might be an option to kind of address that top line and improve a little bit, even if not just acquiring a fourth liner. I don't think we're going to be able to make the salaries work, but it's something that I'm going to just take a look at how we can potentially go about. Good players for the Wild, but none that I really think we can swing a trade for. Again, our cap situation is just not super great right now. Islanders got a lot of good players, and they're struggling too. They would be a good trade partner. We can get Subban. I don't think there's no way that salary is going to work though. Ottawa, Eric Stahl, Nikita Gusev, playmaker. I like that potentially for the top line. Do they have anybody else? The thing is, Ottawa's actually a semi-decent team, so I don't really know why they have these players on their trading block. I also don't know why Gusev's trade value is so low. But we can try and swing something for him, for sure. Same with Jeff Carter. I like Jeff Carter a lot, actually. And Pittsburgh's bad right now, so I had to put a note next to Gusev that says super low trade value. But yeah, Jeff Carter's somebody I'm really interested in, and he's been playing great this season too. San Jose, I'm surprised some of their guys aren't on the trading block, given that they've been such a good season. Now, Chris Drieger, if we can get him, that's an interesting trade, because that really solidifies our goaltending tandem going into the playoffs. I just don't think they're going to be interested in like flipping one of our goalies for him. But again, these are all trades I'm going to go ahead and look at. I don't think any of them are going to get accomplished. Saad I would like if he wasn't signed for 5 years. I did not realize that was his contract, because I just think he's going to continue to get worse. If Bay's contending, they're not going to have anybody in the block. It looks like the Ekman-Larsson experiment's not going great so far for Vancouver. Yeah, Vegas is contending, not surprised. Winnipeg. That's it. All right, I'm going to go look. I wrote down a list of players I'm going to try and look at. Josh Manson, Ryan Suter, Dustin Brown, Nikita Gusev, Jeff Carter, and Chris Drieger. Again, this is before the trade deadline, so just looking at options ahead of time, and I will let you know if we come up with anything in just a few moments. All right, so like I pointed out with Nikita Gusev, his trade value is super low, and even though they're a rival, I really want to try and improve this roster on the margins in as many ways as we possibly can. I claimed Xavier Ouellet off waivers like 3 weeks back in this simulation, and he's been playing in our minor leagues. And we can get Nikita Gusev, I think, for him straight up because Ottawa has interest. So, and he's been playing really well this season. And actually, he has X Factor ability, apparently. I did not know that. He has third eye. That's very interesting. Okay. So we're going to see if Ottawa will take this trade. And we actually probably could have gotten even more from Ottawa, it looks like. But I will definitely take that. So that'll improve our roster on the margins. That's a guy, I think, that can play in that Nick Ritchie spot on the first line as well. So I'm going to take a look at some more possible deals, and we will be back in a few moments. So I know Dallas isn't going to go for this right away, but I want to send this through just to try and see if we can get it approved. It's just swapping Brody for Suter. 1 extra year. Suter is also 36, so he's probably going to decline. This is just a temporary move to try and shed some salary. Plus, I think that he is going to give Morgan Riley a little bit better chemistry. He has the superstar X Factor, which is stick him up. And Brody obviously does not. So it's a short-term improvement. We're going to have to find a way to shed the salary long-term, but less money, better player. They want more back, obviously. So let's see what they actually want in return from our block, if there's anybody that they're interested in who has decent trade value that we're also willing to give up. And they are interested in Kampf. And for this trade, I would actually be willing to do that because I have a plan for what I'm going to be doing next. They have more than 50 skaters. I also don't think that's enough trade value. What if we took back Raffle? I don't think this is going to be enough to save. Actually, Dallas will be over the salary cap, so they're actually kind of tied up to the cap too. Even bringing back Raffle at $1.1 million is a little bit too much for them. So what I will do in this scenario is I'm just going to retain a little bit of Camp's salary, like just enough to make it work for Dallas. Well, I thought, okay. And that's just about the difference between these two's contract. I don't really have to do it for next year. So let's see if they take this. No. Okay. Draft picks. Actually, goalies matching block. They're interested in Scott, but he's kind of the only prospect we really have right now. Wow, I did not realize that we had like no picks this year. Holy crap. Wow. All right. I'm going to use my first round pick to try and trade for Jeff Carter. So let's try and throw a second in there. And if they don't take it after this, I don't really know what we're going to do. Okay, cool. So, all right, swapped out Brody for Suter. And I think we're just missing lines. Okay, I'm going to edit the lines real quick, and then I'll be back one more time with one last trade. All right, we're going to go ahead and try this instead of giving up our first-round pick because I actually think there's potential to get a better play with that first-round pick. We're going to try and give up Simeon, Dare, Argutschnitt, whatever, however you pronounce his name. We're going to try and give him up for Jeff Carter instead. It looks like this is a league-approved trade. I hope that I have salary cap space. If not, I'm going to try and have to make another move to supplement this, but we might not even have to jump into the actual trade deadline. We might be able to make this work here. And all right, cool. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, and let's go to roster moves. Let's see if we can bring up Jeff Carter. Okay, cool. Jeff Carter is already on the roster, it looks like. All right. So with this, I'm really happy with our roster now. I think we're gonna be in pretty good shape. Go ahead and throw Carter in there. And that actually makes that a -1. That's interesting. We're going to throw him here instead of Kerfa. Which I don't really want to do. But because Kerfoot's been playing decently well. But I don't want that line to be a -1. I didn't really think about that ahead of time. And where the hell... I'm missing somebody. Yeah, Sandy. I don't know what the hell happened. I do know what happened. Okay. Why is this... This is like all messed up now. Alright, let's do that then. It was just amazing second pairing on defense. I really only got him because he's... I don't know if I want these guys together, though. What if I put Sandin up here? Make Sandin our top pairing guy. That's a -2. I don't really want to do that. Okay. What about this? Nope, that's even worse. Alright. I guess we'll roll with this, because in the aggregate it makes everybody better. I don't really love it, but... We have 4 left defensemen. I could have swore there was another right. Well, we swapped right for left, so that's probably part of why. But, alright, I'm fine with that. Let me go ahead and just quickly edit the power play, because we need to, yeah, okay. So, top 4 guys with Riley, that's fine. I want Spezza here with Kerfoot on... I actually think I'm going to take Kosh out, and I want to get Carter in here. And then... in this spot, I definitely want Sandin because he's been doing a great job so far. This isn't like an amazing looking line, and the chemistry's bad, but hopefully they can just continue to score like they've been. And then, sorry, Riley, you're getting demoted to second pairing. Yeah. Spezza. We'll put Carter here. And then put Kerfoot on the point, I guess. Or actually, let's put Gusev out there. That's still a -2. Playmaker, sniper, playmaker. Do we have another sniper? We do. We have Kosh. I don't know why I'm bothering with this. Because it's not, it literally doesn't even make a difference. Alright. We're just going to do this then. The 4-man power play does not really matter. So, for some starters on our penalty kill, too. And that makes it a +2 for some reason. I think part of that is just because Suter has a superstar X factor. But I am going to, other than I'm taking Morgan Riley off, and I'm going to put in Sandin. Leave this the same. No. Well, do I want Hull? Hull's not going to progress anymore. So I would rather put on Dermott. Because he has opportunity to grow. Kerfoot, Carter. Mikheyev is already on here. Okay. So I can send down. I do have to send down a player. And that player will be whoever the worst player is. Which I guess is Bunting. Bunting can still progress technically, so I might send him down. Or actually Engvall. I'll send Engvall down. I'll leave Bunting here as a depth guy. And then we also have Raffle for depth too, which he's a two-way forward. I was going to say, I thought he would be a sniper, but alright. Let's go with that. We're going to make that our line. I'm still going to go into the trade deadline, so we'll cut back in just a moment, but I think we're done making moves. The trade deadline will basically just be a formality at this point for if we see anybody we want to make a last-second move for. But we're going to run with this lineup for a little bit, see how it goes, and I will catch you guys in just a moment. Before we jump into the trade deadline, I want to take a look at our stats real quick because I think I overlooked something when I was making those trades previously. And we're also 3/4 of the way through the season at this point, so it's a pretty good update. Pretty much almost exactly. We have been on a slide for a little, and I think that part of that honestly was just because of our goaltending situation. And I think I probably should have addressed that a little bit more urgently than some of the other holes that we were worried about. But I will say our top has been really good. Nylander's been really good too. It's just missing those games kind of puts him down there. in the standings a little bit. Kerfoot's been really good recently, but he has an almost unsustainable shooting percentage. However, we'll see if having like a 25 goal season, like it looks like he's going to have right now, leads to his overall going up. If he can be a better third line center for next season, he's only playing 15 minutes a game, and yet he still scored 20 goals. Chavara's been a little bit rocky recently. Matthews is starting to pick it up with the goal scoring a little bit. I expected him to be a little bit higher still. But you can already see that adding Gusev to that top line has really turned around their performance overall. They were like Marner was a plus, but Matthews I think was like a -7. Gusev has been really productive too for us, so that's nice to see. Carter, 39 points. I don't know how much is actually with us versus with Philadelphia. Oh, it actually splits it up here. He's actually been horrible for us, so that's really not good. He's at 1%, one shooting percentage. That's awful. So we might have to reassess that. Nylander, Spezza's been a little bit worse recently. Wayne Simmons, Andre Kosh. So I think what we might do is might swap around some of our guys at the bottom, try and reinvigorate that third line. I think actually, did we put Carter on the wing on that third line? I think we did, and I actually think we demoted Kerfoot. So I think we might switch those two back around. And then the bottom's been doing really good. I think Ritchie's actually gotten slightly worse. So let's see if we can make some sort of like Nick Ritchie type trade, because we do have a couple guys on our roster right now that can really contribute, I think. And then standings wise, we are back on top. We were in third for a while. Honestly, as long as we can stay in that top 4 range, I'm fine with it. And then we're in a decent spot to even make the playoffs right now, and that's my goal. As long as we make the playoffs, I have no question that we will be contending while we're there. So let's go ahead and we'll advance a couple days. And actually, Gusev just came back. I forgot he got hurt. I actually he got hurt for like one game. Like he had just got hurt. I just put him I just substituted for him. And now he's already healthy again. So, let's see. Okay, it just jumps right in. So, going to the trade deadline, we're obviously going to be buying. It didn't even give me a chance to update my trading block, so that's great. We're going to get a bunch of really crappy offers, probably, from other teams. And I was going to say my game froze. All right, so Marc-Andre Fleury is available. 1 year, $7 million. We'll revisit that, because that wasn't even somebody I had on my radar. Klingberg is very interesting. Pulock, Hurdle. Yeah, a lot of these guys. Oh, forgot to do this. Not particularly guys I would be interested. Like Pulock, I think is right. Yeah, Pulock's right-handed. He wouldn't be a bad option. Let's see. Our Marc-Andre Fleury already got traded to the Arizona Coyotes. Pulock is definitely a player I'm interested in. I just don't think we have the assets to go out and acquire. And he's also making $5 million and expires after this year, so he's going to be wanting a lot more money. So I'm actually going to back out of this because I do not want that. The more I think about it, it is not something that I think is attainable. Any of these guys who are like expiring that are like really good, we're going to have to look more into like. Wow, I'm really glad that I made that trade when we did. Drieger, I do want to. Trader Rust, okay. Drieger, I do want to try and make another run at. Between him and Antti Ranta, they have the exact same trade value, so we're going to try and make something work here. I want to see if they will take our goalie. Looks like they're just interested in everybody. I want to see if they'll just take our bag. If they take Campbell, and that's not okay. Somehow that works under the salary cap. I don't really understand how. And then we throw in Ritchie. If this will work, because they're interested in Ritchie too, and Ritchie's just been rough for us, and we have other depth players that can fit that role. He's on the bottom. He's on the bottom line right now. He's on the 4th line. And he's just been a nightmare this year. So let's see if they'll accept this trade. Okay. And now we have Chris Drieger. So our goaltending situation just got even better. Let's see if we can kind of... I wouldn't mind... Pulock as a rental, though, I wouldn't mind. And then we take it into the offseason, because he is so young. The rest of these guys are all freaking old. Somebody just got traded again. Jeff Skinner got traded for Marcus Foligno. Okay. Philip Deneau's already on the trade block. Just got signed. Anderson wouldn't be bad, but I'll never make a trade with Montreal. The Devils, there's no way we're gonna be able to make that work. Zucker is on a 2-year deal. Actually, probably should have tried to trade for Lankinen, but Drieger's already under contract. So Bruins traded. Oh, they traded for John Klingberg. All right, so Dallas continues to sell pieces off. Interestingly, I have not seen the player we traded them, Muzzin, or not Muzzin. We didn't trade them Muzzin. We traded them Barry on the block. Edler is a defenseman in this game, apparently. All right, never mind. I did want to trade for Dustin Brown earlier. It looks like he has a little bit too much trade value, though. I also think Gusev fits what we want to do a little bit more. Saad and Domi. All right, this is kicking us back to the beginning. So, the Calgary Flames traded for Josh Bailey and Zdeno Chara. Pulock as a rental. Is there any way we can pull this off? I don't think there's going to be. They are interested in our first-round pick. You know what? Just to make it so we have no draft at all, let's throw in our 6 as well. Why not? If they want to do this, I will find a way to make it work. Because that'll make our top 4 that much better. What I want to see, though, then we'll have a really solid top 4. We're not going to have a spot for somebody if we do that. So, I think Dermott's the guy to trade, honestly. Sandin's been too good. And he's probably going to move into the top 4 next year anyway. Dermott. Actually, Dermott Sandin is my bug. I wouldn't mind. How about Hall? You take Hall? 2 years left? Oh, no! He got traded for. Damn. Who traded for him? Damn, that sucks. Alright, well, that kind of throws this off. Nashville, well, whatever. They're not in our conference, so. Is there any other defensemen available? No, not one that's good. Damn, these guys all kind of went fast. This moves a lot faster than it did last year. Pavelski doesn't have a whole lot of trade value. Montreal, who did they trade for? Oh, they actually traded away Anderson to the Buffalo Sabres. Okay. Also, Jamie Benn's got really low trade value, but he has a 4-year contract. Okay, that's why. What about Palmieri's got a 4-year deal? Okay. Robertson's 3, Zucker's 2, Lankinen, D. Smith, Sorokin, Edler. Okay. So, we don't have a chance to make another splash move, I don't really think. Pavelski's the last thing I can really think of. We already traded with the Stars, though, and I honestly don't see this. I don't see a way this will work under the cap. Unless there's a forward who makes more money than I realize. Kerfoot makes a little bit, but I actually want to hold on to that because I think he can get better. There's not really anybody else making that much money. Carter, I guess, and that might be the move because he's struggled for us. I don't like to do that, though. I don't like to make a trade and then trade the guy away in a different trade. Because Pavelski probably plays on that second line. We'll push Wayne Simmons to the 4th. He can play penalty kill minutes, too. You know what? We'll make this our move. Oh, no. Damn it. All right. Well, we keep getting beat to the punch. I mean, if I made Drager our main, I shouldn't have made Drager our main, like, component, because it's honestly, like, we could have gotten so many other goalies. Like, there's, like, 14 different 83 overall goalies available. Drager is the best one, I think, of them all. Let's see if we can get Radulov for Carter. I really want to keep Carter. I doubt it, but I think that's the only way to make money work. Because we're in a really bad spot cap-wise. What do they want? Dallas. We already made a trade with Dallas, so I should really already know. This really comes down to if we can make it work with our first round pick. Oh, they're not even interested in our first round. Right, we might not be able to make this work. Yeah, I don't really want to trade a first round pick for Alex Radulov either. I don't think. I mean, he's been really good. All right, cool. We have no draft this year, so please be ready for that. I also traded away a guy that I actually gave up assets to acquire earlier in the year, so that's also something you're not supposed to do. I don't really care if any of these other guys get signed. So, all right, we made a splash move. We got Radulov. We have, again, no draft for this year. I would like to reiterate. No draft at all. Which makes it nice, because then we can just skip over. Okay. I don't know why, though. Oh, Spurgeon must have got traded afterwards. No, this is just all the trades that we just watched happen. All right, Morgan Geekie, I think, has decent potential, so... Wow, why is he on waivers? What in the hell? What is Seattle doing? Alright. I'll definitely claim him. He is going to be a part of our team next year. You can keep him in the minors for right now, though. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and edit the lines again. And then we'll see again at the end of the season. So I'm going to do this real quick, and I will be right back. So I was hoping when I stopped the simulation, it would just show the standings still, but apparently that's not how it works. So we got to go through the way. So, end of the season, we actually had a pretty miraculous last month. We almost finished with 50 wins, but we went on a hot streak to end the season. We were like 9 points out of the division lead in third place. Like, stopped the simulation the last time to do a bunch of substitutions, and then we went on like a 7 out of 8 run. I'll show you guys in just a second. But we did end up winning the division, and we are going to be matched up with the Ottawa Senators in the first round, who've had a winning season for the first time in like 5 years, I think. And they actually had a really good offense, it looks like, too. So, going through, I don't think that we contended for... I don't know why this is in such a weird order. I don't think we contended for the President's Trophy. Although it looked like we had the best record in the East, which is also kind of a surprise. But we'll go through division by division. So, yeah, Toronto... Florida, Boston, Ottawa, Tampa Bay with a horrible season, and Montreal not too much better than them. So both of the defending Stanley Cup champions are out. We knew they couldn't both make it back to the finals. But shocking finish, honestly. Every team except for Buffalo finished with a winning record in regulation, so this is probably the strongest division in the NHL this season. Over in the Central, Colorado really cleaned house. Surprisingly, really not a very strong division. Nashville ended up missing the playoffs despite their aggressive trade deadline moves, and Arizona sneaks in with 93 points. The Central only has 3 playoff teams, which means 5 teams from the Pacific made it. Can you imagine if that happened in real life? The Met, you got New York, Philadelphia, and New Jersey sneaking out 1 point over the Capitals, who kind of had a backslide to end the season, it looks like. And the Penguins, surprisingly, I think are the worst team in the NHL this year. The Pacific Division, Golden Knights finished on top of Calgary in second place, Seattle in third, Anaheim with a surprising season, and Edmonton turns around their slow start to sneak in with 90 points. I think they are only like a couple points over. They finished 1 point ahead of Nashville, and Dallas, despite getting rid of half of their team, ends up almost making it. Pittsburgh, I think, like I said, is the worst team. Pittsburgh and San Jose, followed by the Islanders. Those are really your top 3. It's kind of a shock. Well, anyway, let's look at our team statistics. So, goals for, I think we're actually toward the bottom. We're in the bottom 10, it looks like. And why is this going so slow? What is happening? Why is this going so slow? I thought we were... I think I passed this on accident already. No, okay. It was just glitched out before. So we were actually top 5 in the league. I thought we were... Oh, goals against is what I was looking at. Okay. So goals against, we might be kind of... Actually, we made the top 10 for there, too. Not as high as I expected to be, but I will take it. So we were one of the most efficient teams in the NHL. Great offense, really solid defense. Power play overall, I don't really care. Power play percentage, we are 5th, which is nice. Penalty kill percentage, we are also in the top 10. And yeah, that's good for team statistics. We'll go ahead and look at the individual player stats, and then we will prepare for the playoffs, which I'm probably going to make next episode because the raw recording for this is almost 2 hours long. So Matthews has a hot end of the season, finishes with 56 goals and 102 points overall. Marner with 27 goals, but 74 assists, 101 overall points. So that line really caught fire at the end of the season. And part of the reason why is I'll show you the lines going into the playoffs is the specific change that I made that I think is the key difference in this team's chemistry. So we'll just look at forwards for now. So Tavares, 83 points, 43 goals. I think that's his second highest career total, both of which were set in Toronto. Radulov finishes with 69 points. I forgot that it says now. So, so it'll tell you. So he was a point-a-game player after the trade with a 10% shooting percentage. So that's really good. And a +9 in just 20 games. Nylander finishes with 56 points. Injury-plagued season, but overall still really solid. Gusev finishes with 50 points. I want to see how much of that was with us. It looks like 25. Actually, it looks like it was split down the middle. But much more efficient player, better shooting percentage, and better plus-minus. With us, it looks like, I think, again, I'm not sure. Kerfoot has almost 50 points. Would have if he didn't get hurt at the end of the season. So he should definitely jump this offseason. Spezza with 40 points a game, or 40 points total, and Simmons with 35. Kosh with 34 kind of falls off at the end of the year. Probably a position we should have looked to improve upon. Raffle played a few games here and there too. Defenseman, Morgan Rielly with 69 points. Second place we got Muzzin. We got Suter with 26. Sandin with 26, Dermott with 23, Hall with 20. So everybody kind of chipped in. Sandin had a really good start to the year. I'm kind of disappointed with the way it ended, but I'm hoping that he can build off that going into next year. And then Peter Mrazek just really wasn't the same after his injury, and Chris Driedger win 24 games, which I want to see what the exact breakdown of this is. I'm not sure how much he actually played for us. I don't know which of these is which, to be honest, but I think Chris Driedger is definitely our starter going into the playoffs. And yeah, I think Mrazek, even though he had 35 wins during the regular season, his numbers tailed off at the end, and I think Driedger is going to be a better option. He'll probably be our game 1 starter. Hutchison, get a start here and there. But yeah, that's our individual stats. Let's take a look really quick at Ottawa's team before we go. They signed Tkachuk or not. Ottawa Senators. So Stützle having a really great rookie season, already up to an 87 overall. Actually, he played last year. This is how much attention I paid to Ottawa. Tkachuk almost a point-a-game player. Brown almost a point-a-game player. So that's actually is more than a point-a-game player. It looks like Josh Norris with a really great season too. He grew up to an 84 overall already. Shabbat, one of the best defensemen in the league, one of the best offensive seasons as well. Probably Batherson with a really good season. So yeah, a lot of these guys, and the addition of Eric Stahl too, a lot of these guys just arrived earlier than expected, it looks like. Even like the guys that people thought would be big players, like Chris Tierney and Colin White, were just their normal selves. They didn't have like a big step-up type of season. Zach Spurt apparently has an X-Factor ability, which is incredible. And then Matt Murray probably held it down for him too. Never mind. Their goaltending is atrocious. All right. So that's kind of a team preview for that. Lots of young guys. But in typical Toronto fashion, we will probably lose to them. But anyway. Excuse me for that. Anyway, I want to show you guys our last month. But given that we are doing gameplay for this series as well, I'm going to leave it off here, and we'll do the playoffs in the next episode. See, we lost two games in regulation the entire month of April. And before that, we'd also won 2 games. So, and, okay, yeah, we lost like 4 straight. But since March 29th, we have lost 2 games in regulation and won many others, and only lost 2 in overtime. So, yeah, really strong finish to the season. Anyway, that is going to do it for this episode 1 of this Rebuilding Canada series. I still want to come up with a better name, but I probably will before I actually put any of these out. So, anyway, that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, leave a like, and I'll see you next time.